Hi Stampers, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have a technique that I want to show you. This has been around for a long time. I've been with Stampin' Up for over 20 years, and this one is using baby wipes and ink refills to make what I call you can either swipe to get those streaks, that can be your background, or you can create a stamp pad basically with the baby wipe and ink refills, and then stamp to get your stamped image to have that kind of multicolored look to it. So this is the rays of light that I did in the background. So I'm going to be showing you both ways how to do this, the swiping and the stamping. And of course, as always, because when you make these, you get a lot of background. So when I first started this, I just did a ton of the backgrounds, and then I set them all aside. And then that way, when I went to go make my cards, I had all my background. So for example, I still have all of these that I need to turn into cards. And I was trying different papers and cardstocks. So what I found, because we no longer carry the glossy cardstock, and that was back in the day, that's what we used to use. And if you have any of that glossy cardstock on hand, that works great for this technique. The other one that works really well, I don't know if you can kind of see it, it's the shimmery white cardstock. So it's got a little bit, camera will pick that up. It's got a little bit of the sparkle to it, and it's a nice thick cardstock. So if you have some shimmery white, that's what I found works the best. It's got a little bit of curling, but once you put the adhesive down, it's fine. So you can use this as a straight background. You can die cut, you can emboss this, dry emboss it. So there's tons of different ways you can create your backgrounds. This is just on our normal white cardstock. So I did have some magnets holding this down while it dried, but that works too. And this is again toward the end, so it's a little bit lighter. Vellum cardstock works good too, but it does really curl. So again, I had this kind of held down with some magnets while it was drying. So it still has a little bit of curl, but this one I'll probably just use more for die cutting or else like a background for a shadow box, because you'll have all that glue to hold that down. But so that works as well. And then I think, yeah, this is the thick white. So again, that works too on it. So, but again, the shimmery white or your glossy cardstock I found works the best for this. So here are just some samples. So these are all from that color comp from those other backgrounds I just showed you. Here are some cards that I created so far. So again, I just kind of cut it in half. And then the colors I used on here were the in colors. I think I did, yeah, I think it was, did I write it down? Oh yeah, Sweet Sorbet and Daffodil Delight was for these. And again, I just kind of did some die cutting. So this is with vellum, and then this is on that shimmery white. So those are some ideas for that. I also did this one. I had that Sweet Sorbet and Daffodil Delight, and then I also went in with Coastal Cabana and Orchid Oasis. And this again is a glossy, and then I made it into a flat shaker card, which I've shown you how to do that before. So I'll put in the description the link to that video tutorial on how to make a flat shaker card. These I had done, so you can kind of see, this is on the glossy. You can see that little bit of a shine. And so I did just the streaking, and then I just die cut out the mountains. So that one is a nice one because you can do a bunch of different die cuts from one sheet of that cardstock. So those are kind of with the blues. And then again, this is another one that has that glossy cardstock. And again, it's with the blues and the greens. And this one I just did as a flat, just a normal, there's no shaker card for this one. And then I kind of did the jingle, jingle, jingle saying in the center of it. And this has got that little reindeer punch, and it's on some velveteen paper. And then again, this one I took the baby wipe and I pounced all over my glossy cardstock to kind of give it that kind of pearled look to it, kind of like a polished stone. And then this again is an old retired, the polar bear set from last year that I did on that one. So, and then here's another one where I swiped the colors directly onto just white cardstock, and then I ran it through the embossing folder, and then I added a little bit of Wink Stella just to kind of make that pop. And then this is one of my bookbinding fun folds, and I've got a video tutorial again on how to do this fold. So that's another one. Here's another one of those polished stones. I just had a scrap left over, so I just kind of did it as a little background focal point on there. And then these, oh, here's another one with the streak. So again, this is on that glossy cardstock with it, and that's with the Grassy Grove. All of these I did with making my stamp, the baby white, become my stamp pad. So as you can see, as you go on, they kind of gets a little bit lighter toward the end, but you can, again, stamp it on colored cardstock, or you can stamp it on white. And on this one, again, I made another kind of flat shaker card, and then I just did my die cut on some iridescent cardstock. And then this again is on the white, and then on the pool party. So it's really fun. And I think the colors on that one, I wrote these down. No, I didn't. This one I think was Orchid Oasis, Coastal Cabana, I think were the two. I think I just had done two, and I might have done a little bit of Starry Sky on there. But yeah, so those are really fun. So we're gonna get started. So what I'm using today, so I'm gonna show you the baby white, the swipe one first. So again, I'm using that shimmery white cardstock, and I always like to, when I do this, I like to triple layer. So my shimmery white is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. My layering white, and this is just normal white cardstock. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I always do 2 of those because I like to have my white be on the inside. And then this is just your standard A2 card. So it's a half a sheet of cardstock cut in half. And this is Starry Sky. So I got basic white, 2 sheets of basic white, one for the inside, one for my layering, and then my shimmery white. So we're going to start with the shimmery white first, because this is what we're going to apply our ink refill to. And then for your baby wipes, I do like to use, so I had a variety of baby wipes, and my first one had more of a waffle weave texture to it. So I recommend do not use that, because it wound up that pattern getting on my paper. So look for just your normal, you know, white, non-patterned baby wipe. So I'm going to use one of my acrylic blocks, and you can use any size. I'm just using the big one. Actually, you know what? I take that back because we're swiping. I'm going to use my rectangle. So when I do my pad, I do this one. So this one I'm using the H block, and I like to actually take the baby wipe and wrap it so that when I hold it, I can do my swiping. Okay, so I'm creating a little just a holder for my baby wipe so my fingers don't get as inky. And if you have some plastic gloves, that would be good to use too. So we're going to do the swiping. So for this one, I'm going to do the 2 in colors, Tahitian Tide and Orchid Oasis. So I'm going to add just some color. So I'm going to do 2 drops of the Tahitian and 2 drops of the Orchid Oasis. And I'm probably like, when I'm tapping, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 when I do that. And then I want to blend these colors a little bit. So I'm going to take another block and then just kind of, just so my fingers don't get inky, I'm just kind of blending these so that they start to, the ink starts to blend a little bit. Okay, so then holding this on your block, you're now going to take, and again, my card is going to be portrait, so I want my swipes going horizontally. So, and then the other thing too is make sure you've got like a silicone mat. I've got a really large one, but you can also use your little Stampin' Up 6x6 craft one. So I'm going to just start doing direct to paper, and I'm kind of just doing back and forth, kind of making an X, because I want this to be really whimsical looking in the back. And I just kind of rotate my cardstock. And then if you need to add more color, you can always go back and add more color, because I want a little bit more turquoise. Then I'm just going to swipe up some of this excess ink here, just so I don't get it on my paper where I don't want it. So I want to swipe just a little bit just to get some more of that turquoise. So again, I've got a lot left over. I could grab another sheet and then just keep doing backgrounds until it kind of fades out. So you can do quite a few backgrounds from one inked up baby wipe. So I'm going to set this aside for now. And then I would just I'm going to let this dry. You can speed up the process by using your heat gun. So I'm going to do that really quick. Okay. And again, you can just let it dry itself, and I would kind of hold it down with some magnets just to prevent it from kind of coiling. All right, so now that's our background. So I'm going to stamp directly onto this, and I'm going to be using one of my favorite sets, Mountain Air, and we're going to use the trees, and I'm going to stamp these in the orchid, or not orchid, I'm going to do Starry Sky, just because that's a darker color. So I'm going to do just my one stamp. So again, I'm going to do full strength, and then I'm going to keep stamping because I want it to look like what I did here with really dark and then kind of my shadow in the back. So I'm going to stamp full strength and then stamp again, re-ink, stamp full strength, and then stamp off. So we'll kind of repeat that pattern throughout. So we're going to stamp full strength, and then I'm just going to shift it up a little bit so you get that shadowed look, and then I'm going to re-ink. I'm going to stamp full strength and then stamp off, re-ink, full strength, and then stamp off, and then again a full strength, and then a stamp off. So you get that really cool kind of tiered forest look throughout it. Okay, then we'll just clean that off. And then for my saying, I was going to grab from the Good Feeling set because it's just really, really big. So I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do You're on My Mind and In My Heart. So this one, will that fit on there? I think that will. I'll leave that on there. I'll put this on another block. And I think for this one, just so that it shows up, I think I am just going to stamp it in black. So I'm just going to do some black memento. So I'm just doing a black. Make sure that's all inked up. And then I'm just keeping this one fairly simple. So I'm just going to stamp directly onto the top here. Make sure I'm straight. And I'm just kind of holding it a little bit just because I want to make sure that ink is seeping through. There we go. So super simple, but I think it's just simple and elegant. I mean, that background really, and then with the shimmer on this cardstock, it really pops. So let's go ahead and just adhere this to our quarter sheet of white. I just want to make sure. Oh yeah, I got blue ink. Yeah, that Starry Sky is such a dark ink. I always want to make sure I've got my workspace cleaned off. So I'm going to use a liquid glue. This is my favorite, the multi-purpose liquid glue. And this will help kind of get rid of that curling because it's going to keep it flat. And then this is going to be layered onto that quarter sheet of white cardstock just to make this fun background pop a little bit more. And then that'll be attached onto our Starry Sky card. All right, and then my inside, I just do want to decorate. I don't know what I'm going to do first. I'm probably going to leave it blank, but I at least want to carry through my tree theme on the inside of my card. So there's that. Clean that off, close this up so I don't get it. And then this will be on the inside. Okay, and then I think, just because you know me, I love my bling. These are the new little in color matte decorative dots. So there's a variety of the Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky version. So I'm going to do, let's see here. I think I'll do a little bit of the larger one. So I kind of like this because it's that ombre look. So let's do a little bit lighter. Kind of do that. And then maybe we'll do another version of this one down here. There. So super simple, but that background just really makes this card. So fun. Okay, so now we're going to do how to do one with the background, making the background be your stamp pad. So again, I like to take a larger acrylic block, and I gotta clean up my mess here. So this one, and my background, we're going to be using the Rays of Light. Let me get I gotta make room on my desk here. Okay, so we're using Rays of Light, and I'm going to use my Stamparatus again on this one once I get my ink pad made up. Clean up some of this. Okay, so we're going to grab another baby wipe, and you're just using one baby wipe. You don't need to double layer. I mean, you could if you want. It's going to create a little bit more moisture. So I'm just going to fold this in half. And I did this a few different ways. So we're going to try it this way first. And then if it doesn't give me the results that I want, I'm going to show you my other way that I do it too. So I'll give you options here. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to do Polished Pink, Fresh Freesia, and then I might do a little bit of the Pale Papaya. So again, these are all the in colors. And on this one, since I'm creating a ink pad, I'm going to have my dots of ink be scattered throughout. So I'm kind of doing like 3 or 4 drops per color. And you want to think of colors that are going to blend together okay. Because if you get ones that make brown, you know, it's not going to be as pretty. And then we'll kind of keep the purple a little bit farther away. rose orange, or the pale papaya. It looks dark, but it's actually pretty light once it gets on here. Okay, so again, I'm going to kind of take another block and just kind of smush my colors just to get them blending a little bit. Okay. All right, so there's my little stamp pad. Now I am going to be using, because with my background stamp, I'm going to use my Stamparatus because I want to be able to repeat this numerous times just to make sure the color gets saturated on the stamp. So that's why I want to be able to repeat it. So we're going to be doing this card. So again, and I'm going to show you a little flat shaker card with it. Okay, so get all my pieces. I'll keep that in there for now. Okay, so again, this is going to be that 3 3/4 by 5, and it's that shimmery white. Then I've got a piece of black cardstock that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then this is the Fresh Freesia card. So again, half a sheet, and I'm doing it portrait style. So it's going to be the long way, so 4 1/4 by 11. And then this is just a piece of vanilla cardstock that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside. All right, so the shimmery white, I want to place it, and I just want to see if my stamp is lined up correctly. I want my sun hitting. I might move over just a little bit. And maybe I'll go down a little bit. Because I want to see. Yeah, that should be okay. Okay, so now this is on that. So then we're going to ink up now our, adjust my camera here, sorry. We're going to ink up our stamp with the baby wipe. Now, I have found, so the baby wipe is kind of sticking to this block, so now this becomes my stamp pad, and I'm just going to apply, it's hard to see, but you can start to see splotches of color, and I kind of move the block around. Then we're going to just put this on and stamp it. So kind of experiment with your stamps. Like, you really want a solid image stamp. So now you kind of get that little rays of light with all the multicolored. So I want a little bit more color. So I'm just going to wipe this down to remove some of that excess. I'm going to take another baby wipe, and this is where the gloves come in handy. Or maybe I could use, oh here, I might be able to just pull and use this. Now you can actually take this and pounce it on the stamp too, is another way of doing it. I call it, this is the messier way because your fingers are getting inky. So that's why you need to have the little glove. So again, and then that adds just a little bit more color. So super fun. So experiment with your solid image stamps and background stamps. And like I said, just have a stack of colored card, or not colored, but white cardstock or shimmery white cardstock on hand. And then that way you can just, you know, do like a little assembly line of making all your backgrounds and then go and create them into cards. A lot of times I like to make a ton of backgrounds And then I keep them in a little tote. And then that way when I go to a friend's house to do crafting or something, I've got my backgrounds ready to go. So then I can just basically just stamp and create cards. So that's it for that one. And what I'm going to do, because I want this sun to pop a little bit more, I'm going to take my pale papaya and my blending brush, and I'm just going to color my sun a little bit just to make that pop a little bit more. So I really get my rays of light. Okay. Then, remember I was going to show you how to do your flat shaker card. So we're going to take a piece of plastic from your packaging. And I just take, you know, when you get your designer series paper, it comes in the big 12 by 12 plastic. Save that and use that to make your flat shaker card. So really, it just needs to be about, you know, an inch bigger around than what your cardstock is. And then we're just going to cut at an angle off the ends of the four corners, kind of like you're making your packaging, like when you wrap presents, or wrap a box, I should say. And then you will need some good, make sure this might be a little bit easier to see, some good tear and tape, because I'm going to put tear and tape then around all four edges of the back of my cardstock. And then I'm just going to peel off 3 of the 4 sides. Okay. Sure that's centered in there. Go this way. So I cut it. Okay. And then you're just going to bring the ends so they're on top of that tape. So you're making a pouch. Okay. Then you're going to add your sequins, or whatever you want to put inside your shaker card. I'm just using up some retired iridescent sequins that Stampin' Up! Had, because the colors kind of matched my ink background. So I'm just going to put a few of these in. And then I just kind of see, you know, there's enough shaking, so that looks pretty good. And then we'll, oops, I forgot to remove, I did the wrong one. Hold on. I forgot to unremove this one. There we go. Make sure my shaker bits get back in there. Close that. All right. And then close this one. And so now you've got your flat shaker card. And then again, I like to put tear and tape on the back of this. And then this will get adhered to my card. Now, if you wanted, you can do dimensionals too, if you wanted to do that instead. But I'm going to attach this then to the back of my card. Let's use my pick tool. All right, so then this is going to be attached to the front of my card. And then we are going to die cut our aspen tree. So let me go grab that die. We'll see if I can fit all of this on camera here if I do it on my desk. I have to make some room here. Come up. Get this out of the way. Too many things. Okay. So now let's make sure. And this is that aspen tree die. And then I just center it, making sure that I've got a little bit of a border going all the way around. Hold on here, sorry, I just need to grab it. I do like to use a little bit of low-tack washi tape just to hold my die in place. And then we're just going to run this through. And then you've got your die. And I'm just going to poke this over the garbage can just so I don't make a mess on my desk. To get all the pieces off. Yeah, this is actually this is one of my favorite dies. This is in the Grassy Grove one. So Grassy Grove is what I did on this one, and then this is the aspen tree. Just two of my favorite background dies that make simple cards, shaker cards, just really fun. Okay, so now on this one, oh, I lost my card. Oh, here it is. On this one, I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. So I'm just going to put dimensionals in each on the back side, in each of the four corners. And then this is going to be attached then to the front of the card. And then I spent the other day just die cutting a bunch of the leaves from the aspen tree die. So I have a variety of, I think I did aspen tree and a combination of Grassy Grove. So these are from Grassy Grove, the little tiny ones. But the rest of these pieces are from the aspen tree die. So this is some retired, this is still an in color, but it was some of our shimmery vellum that we had. So I had some scraps left over. This is from the new rose gold metallic paper. So it's got kind of this really pretty rose color, and then it's got some of the, I think this is from the brushed gold on there. So yeah, it's a combination of metallics and shimmery. So let's do, I think I'll do a combination. Maybe I'll do this, and then, oh yeah, I've got a little rose gold one. I think I'll do that one. Kind of combination of that. So I've got all these pieces to make more cards. So again, sometimes like when you're sitting in front of like watching a movie or something, I don't know. I just like to die cut a bunch of stuff, put them in little baggies, and then that way I've got them ready to go when I'm needing to make a quick card. So just another little tip, just die cut a bunch of pieces and then set them aside just so you have them. And then some scraps. I just always have a bunch of these always laying around my desk as well. I'm going to stamp my saying And I found I really need a bunch of birthday cards. So I'm making this one a birthday card. Because I do birthday cards for all my coworkers. And November had a lot of birthdays at my work. And so now I'm like, ooh, I need to replenish my birthday card supply. So this is just again, it's a random scrap piece of paper. I think it's like a half inch, not a half inch, like probably 3/4 of an inch. And I'm just going to stamp happy birthday on it. Let's try it again, be a little bit more straight. There we go. 2 sides to the cardstock. If you mess up, flip it over and try again. And then this, I'm just gonna freehand cut. And then I like to just run my fingernail along the edges just to give it that little rustic look. And then it hides any of your crooked cutting. Okay. So since this is vellum, I'm just going to use my liquid glue again. And this will dry clear. You can just kind of smear it a little bit with your finger as well. And I'm just going to attach this to the front. And hold it down. I'm going to take my little die cut. I think I've got a few pieces that need to come out yet. And on some of these, you know, that have the little pieces that you poke out, I don't always like to poke all of them out. I like to have a little bit of those die cuts still remain inside there. I'm just getting rid of some of this white that's showing through. And we'll get rid of that one. There we go. We'll poke a few of these out, but not many. Okay. And then again, we're going to put the liquid glue on the back. And that's just going to layer on top. And then my final leaf, I'm actually going to pop this one up. This is that metallic rose gold. I'm going to pop this one up with some dimensionals. I'm going to tuck my happy birthday underneath it. So just kind of eyeball it a little bit. Hold that down. All right, and then my inside piece, I am going to take some of these little leaves that I die cut from the vellum, use these up, and we'll just throw a few of these on the inside. Just get attached to the inside of the card. And again, I'll add my inside greeting. I don't have my birthday sayings out right now, so I'll stamp that later. Sometimes I kind of wait and see, like, depending on who the person is, what kind of greeting that I want to put on the inside for the birthday card. So that is it for the baby wipe swipe and baby wipe stamping technique. So really fun. And again, like I said, you can make a ton of backgrounds from it. And where's my other card? I lost it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so I would love to see your creations. And as always, thank you so much for the support. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. And I will put a list of all the details that I used and some links to other videos in the description below. And then again, I will stamp again with you soon. Thanks for watching.